What up, y'all? It's ttarn, and today we're going to be talking about something very unusual but very official and real for Pokemon Legends ZA, and it starts on February 27th when the games were announced. You see, on Pokemon's Twitter account, after the reveal, they posted this tweet saying, Pokemon Legends ZA, an ambitious new entry to the Pokemon video game series, will launch in 2025. And then what happened is Nintendo quoted this tweet and put, "Watch to see the reveal trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA. A new adventure set entirely within Lumiose City, coming in 2025. So you see, Legends ZA is not taking place necessarily in the Kalos region. It's taking place in Lumiose City specifically. That's the whole game. That's the borders. This circular map they showed us in that reveal trailer. That's pretty much what we're playing within. So you might be thinking, is this true? This is worrisome. Did Nintendo America mean to tweet this? Was it an accident? Well, we can look at some other sources. So here I've opened up Nintendo.com in the official Japanese article. So this would be in the purest wording possible. And so it doesn't say anything in the headlines here, but if you scroll down through the article, they explain more about it, and they pretty much say here that the main setting for Pokemon Legends ZA is Lumiose City. That's it in Japanese, Miyare City. This is fact. I mean, I caught this when it was first revealed, but I wanted to make a proper deep dive into it, and so this is why they chose the careful wording of announcing an ambitious new entry, because not only is it something unique like a Legends game, but they're taking a whole unique approach and setting the whole game within one city, which is like the complete opposite of what a Pokemon game reminds you of, right? You're supposed to be setting out on your journey, or if it's the previous Legends game, you're trying to quell the noble Pokemon. It's some kind of adventure always with us setting out. But here we have the whole game taking place within Lumiose. And you know, if you do a quick search on all the big news sites, the idea is going around that this is something worrisome. Pokemon Legends ZA hype derailed. Wait, what? Derailed? As a single word leaves players concerned. I didn't even read these articles. I don't know, you're trying to hit them that deep. And it can make sense to worry, right? Like, for example, when you're playing the Scarlet and Violet games, the cities are very barren. I'm just gonna put that in quotes because you can't go in any of the houses. When you go to the shops, it's just like a black screen. Very minimal work was done to the cities, of course, right? But this isn't a bad thing at all. I mean, let me put it in different words here, okay? I guess this is my case for why this is a good thing in Pokemon. And it's because, listen, Kalos is based off France, right? Lumiose City is Paris. Do you know how big Paris is? You don't need the whole Kalos region. If you properly explored Paris, you can make that the size of Kalos. It's a whole city. And that's probably what they're trying to do here. They're trying to do the opposite of what they were doing in Scarlet and Violet, where the cities were simple. They're gonna put infinite detail into everything, make all the houses you can go into them, but it won't just look like Saffron City, where it's just filled with houses. The entire map is probably gonna be giant, because not only is this a Pokemon game, and it's probably gonna retain the same staple, which is setting out on some sort of adventure. And so it's not just gonna take place within some small city, but this game is coming out in 2025. They're taking their time to put as much work into this as possible. So clearly they're trying to work on something grand, and the final product you're gonna get for Lumiose City is not gonna look anything like it does in the Kalos games. The Kalos games will pale in comparison. Something as small as the 5 hub spots, the plazas, will be something gigantic. Essentially, let's pull up a map of Lumiose. So you see how you've got these 5 plazas? Magenta, Rouge, Bleu. You understand, these can be expanded to be the size of a whole Pokemon city. You know, Balon Leia, for example, in Galar, Stow side. These might just be a small plaza, but it can be expanded infinitely. This is an actual interesting take by Pokemon, because it shows they're trying to take a more creative approach to stuff. Because it's not the situation where, oh, they don't want to map the whole Kalos region and that's why they're doing this. I mean, map as in create the whole region in 3D. Because what they're about to do is essentially make the size of what Kalos would have been Lumiose anyway. So they're doing the same work. In fact, they're doing more work, it would seem like, because Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's what? 1 village, like 2 settlements for the Diamond and Pearl clan. That's it. And then the Temple of Sinnoh. The rest of it, you could just generate that whole forest. So no wonder they're taking 2 years to make this game. I almost want to say this game will be something along the size of what Paldea turned out to be. all within Lumiose City, which might sound crazy at first because that's a whole open world circular region. But think about it. Think how big Paris is. You want to go from North Boulevard all the way to South Boulevard? That's gonna take you like 20 minutes of walking. So not only can they expand all the plazas into whole cities, but the whole take on Lumiose itself can be refined. You see, if you look in the trailers, they said something which I always found curious wording, which is that they're trying to redevelop Lumiose into a place where both Pokemon and humans can live and live together. So what that leaves me thinking is that right now Lumiose City is kind of a broken city, which is why, you know, in history they're trying to redevelop it. Also, this game's taking place in the past, okay? We're not gonna consider the future idea unless they toss us a bone for that. It makes sense this is taking place when Napoleon is renovating Paris into the newer Paris. And so what they're gonna do is throw in an additional meaning in the Pokemon world to that, which is that, check this out. You may be wondering, okay, if this whole game takes place within a city, what about the Pokemon side of this? What about catching Pokemon, fighting, going into the danger? I mean, it's a Legends game. The last Legends game was the most dangerous it's ever been in context. Exile, they mentioned death in that game. Where's the actual gotta catch 'em side to it if it's in Lumiose? And that's exactly it. Half the city might be broken because it's run by Pokemon. And it's lawless territory, dangerous territory that you're not supposed to go into. And these are some of the issues of the overall Lumiose City and why whoever might be king at this time, if that's what's happening, is trying to redevelop it in the first place. So half of this entire map, they might say this whole section is run by dangerous Pokemon. And so you'll have the same adventure setting trying to go there because this place will be infinitely huge. You might have like some evil team that's in the region and they have bases in all these different Pokemon areas. You'll have the equivalent of the noble Pokemon, right? These monstrous Pokemon that need to be quelled. And maybe they're the kingpins of various places around the map. And so no humans can go near there. And maybe even all of Lumiose's population is shoved to some corner like Jean Plaza. And so the whole region is actually run by Pokemon. And so you still get the same setting out in a dangerous land and catch 'em all feel. This is actually something very out of character for Pokemon to do because they never have to really stretch their creative limbs like this. It's a successful game regardless of what they make. And if you want one more proof as to how Lumiose City could somehow turn giant, well, look at this, okay? Unova is not based off America. It's based specifically off New York. That's one state. In fact, geographically, it's based only on New York City. Though they take features from all around New York to paint a representation of New York, that's how big they expanded one state / city. If you really wanted to zoom out, and if they made Unova based off the whole America country, then these whole rivers that take up Unova could be like 6 tiles long and you just surf over. Where, you know, this is the gym and they just would have put houses all around here. This could have been the size of one town in Pokemon, and that's the point, right? And this is when it gets even more interesting because we have a very simple setting for the game, which is a Lumiose City, and I'm saying it's half tormented by Pokemon. So where does the actual story of the game come in? As in the logos. Pokemon Legends ZA. We got Zygarde and the ultimate weapon involved. Some kind of crazy story is gonna play out in this, even though it takes place only in Lumiose City. And specifically, the weird thing is that ultimate weapon being in the logo, because the ultimate weapon isn't even in Lumiose. So maybe this is some kind of story where, you see how we went with the alchemy approach a couple videos ago? Maybe this is an approach where the reason the ultimate weapon is in the logo is maybe they actually find the blueprints and try to make a new ultimate weapon in Lumiose here. Maybe you'll uncover some story where the center tower was actually something more ominous back in the Kalos days, and this game's gonna show that it was supposed to be like the start of another ultimate weapon. And then after you beat the evil people in this game, it probably still is a weapon underground and all, but it just stands there as like the Eiffel Tower, which fits into the context of the real world, right? The Paris renovation happened around 1850. The Eiffel Tower finished its construction like 30 years later. So the big tower at the center of the region and the whole shape of the region being a circle that's like leading to the center could be about another ultimate weapon, a smaller one or a bigger one, I guess. Think about the context of AZ building his ultimate weapon. He built it in a hurry, wanted his flow it back, so maybe he built a very small scale one. And so let's say something like this king gets his hands on the same blueprints that AZ referenced, and he's making a giant ultimate weapon that's gonna take in a lot more life force. Because there's a lot of things that you can get out of the ultimate weapon. The king can get immortality for himself, an unstoppable power force, which is the Yveltal power, but there's also the question of what Xerneas and Yveltal's energy seems to produce, mega energy, right? Maybe he's trying to do something along the lines of creating some unusual giant mega stone. Maybe the A legendary that we like to joke about, maybe the process of reviving it is you've got to use the ultimate weapon with a bunch of life energy, like 10 times the amount AZ sucked, or like 100 if you look at how big this region's gonna be, the city's gonna be, and creating a giant megastone. And so we learn more history about what megastones really are and where it comes from. But you see, the size does not matter because anything can be made big. They've set up something really fun with this, and it's gonna be interesting once that first trailer comes out and we're gonna actually see the scope of the region. But yeah, they picked the city with the most lore potential, right? With the Prism Tower here, the place where Lysander secretly runs is here, called Lysander Cafe. Sycamore's lab is somewhere here. And so the same way you had Rowan's ancestor Komodo, you might see some Sycamore ancestors, or I mean, you're gonna see ancestors for a lot of characters in this game. It's a whole new Legends game, right? Might even see freaking just Adaman. He's just here. Even the Looker Bureau is here. We don't know anything about the International Police, right? Imagine it spans back hundreds of years as this intelligence agency. Picture meeting some old-fashioned Paris International Police folk who are onto the king's evil behavior here and all. And maybe this is around the time the International Police formed, but you get to learn a huge scoop about them, what they really are and all, because, you know, we know in the modern day the International Police is corrupt, right? So there's definitely some underlying story with them that Pokemon has been wanting to tell us. There's so much potential in just this one city. So that's my best case for why this is a good thing. Obviously, I could be wrong at the end of the day, but I hope this lifts the worries, because I'm pretty sure this is about to be a huge map. The same way you saw some darker things in Legends Arceus, because this wasn't a good time for Paris, you might see a lot of dark things in this game as well. An overall sad theme to the city, people in despair, stories of Pokemon ruining houses and people who go into Pokemon territories and go missing, leading up to whether the king that they all live under is good or not. Infinite potential can be made from all this. Y'all let me know, good thing or bad thing? Are you worried about this or not? Let's see what the general consensus is. But yeah, essentially it's something like this. Don't think of this as Lumiose City. Think of this as the Lumiose region. And that's where Legends EA is taking place. Anyhow, yeah, I'll see y'all. Take care.